All right, welcome back to the Planet Paintball podcast, brought to you by 1023 Sportswear. That's TEN, the numbers 23sportswear.com. Maybe you can get some fresh World Cup jerseys if you act quick. If not, check them out for next year. And Southwest Paintball in Bayfield, Colorado. Go out and say hi to John. It's getting cold out there. All right, tonight I got Cameron with me from BC Riot D2. And
hey
that
guys,
is Blast Camp Riot for those who don't know what the BC stands for. It's not British Columbia. What's going on, man?
what's up, man? What's up, man? Yeah, it's my first full season at Blast Camp. This is honestly, I wouldn't even say it's my first full season. I kind of came in around kind of like June, July area. So I've been kind of working with them. I played the Max events, the Mid American X Ball League. I played there a full season, and then kind of got picked up in between. I was kind of really looking to kind of up my skill set and up my my gameplay. I know I've been playing a lot of D3 and D4 events at the MSXLs and stuff like that here locally in Kentucky, and kind of been doing all that for a while. And I was kind of just looking for something new, and
Nice.
it kind of all just kind of kick-started. Man, this is tough, man. This is I've been playing paintball for, oh my gosh, I've been playing this for probably going on intermittently for about 10 years now. I'm 21 now. I've been playing since I was about 11 or 12.
Nice.
My pops, um, my pops is really the one who started it all. My pops played from 92 to '04. The reason
Okay.
why he had to quit playing in 2004 was because I was born. My sister was born in 2000, and my mom kind of gave him the decision of, you either be a dad and raise the kids, or we get divorced and you play paintball. So that was the thing there. He never thought he would get back into the game. He never thought he would ever see the game again. And up until about 2015 was when I kind of decided to go and play. My grandmother actually reached out to me and said, "Hey, our church is going to a church group, and we're going to do a kind of a bit of a paintball thing." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I go to this local field called Condor's Paintball. I know a lot of guys here in Kentucky are going to know that. I go there, I play for the first time. Of course, the average kid wearing 4 pairs of sweatpants and 2 hoodies, and didn't want to get hit whatsoever. I go there, I play, have an absolute blast, and kind of left it at that. Like, it wasn't really, didn't really proceed it, didn't really like go after it or anything. And then 2016, I started following some stuff on Instagram, started following some stuff around like YouTube and stuff like that, and watching some stuff. And then 2017 was really when everything kind of took a big shift. I went back on another church group outing and started playing again. Well, this time Pops went with me. So Dad went outside and he said, "Let me go find my old marker." So he found this brick of a marker. He found this thing.
It's a gorgeous one.
Old school, yes, old school Gen E Matrix that he played with when he was playing on Brass Eagle All Stars. I still have that. That is my pride and joy to my collection of everything that he has owned. And he said, "Let's go play." So we go play, and man, just like that, I was hooked. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. Well, really cool thing is we kept playing there 6, 7 months, played rec ball. Then, unbeknownst to me, there was a tournament paintball field called Paintball Asylum, a little bit up the road from where the E Town field was. And I didn't know at the time, but the owner, Kenny Shell, was actually teammates of my dad, David. And I had no idea. Well, they were teammates on Brass Eagle. So Dad calls up Kenny and said, "Hey, do you still have Paintball Asylum going?" And he's like, "Well, yeah." He's like, "Come out." He goes, "My kid's into it. I want to go take him out there." And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely." Well, we go out there, we play, and we absolutely have a blast. We played a little bit out there, kind of rec ball and whatnot, getting our feet wet. And then Dad was like, "Do you want to play airball, speedball, like what all that is?" And I was like, "Sure." And I kind of got my first tournament gun there. and it was a Dye DSR. It was the first Dye DSR
Okay.
in 2017, 2018 when that kind of came out, and it all went from there. Just kind of playing there. I played with Asylum True Ballers for uh, played a handful of events with them in Division 5 and Division 4. I played a full season with them in 2018, and then I played a full season, I'm sorry, not a full season, but about a half season with Struggle in 2019, um, and kind of went from there. The really
Okay.
cool thing was in in 2019 was when everything started to kind of change. 2017 and 2018 was kind of like the introductory year, was when I first kind of started playing in 2017 tournament ball in the winter, and then 2018 I played a full season with like Silent True Ballers and Struggle and a couple other different teams. But kind of in the middle of all of this, my dad really wanted me to kind of work on my craft, and he wanted me to get better, and he decided to take me to a lot of these BKI camps, the kind of
Okay.
like the Boston paintball stuff. So he started to take
Yeah.
me and get me around that stuff. And so I believe I went to the Winter Classic in, it's been so long ago.
Florida.
I think I went to the
I think it
Winter
was in
Classic in
Comanche.
2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was. I went there in 2018, and then I went to the Boston summer camp. I believe it was in June of 2018, and stayed in Boston for a week. That was some pretty cool paintball. That was really fun. And then I did that, and then we did the thing right before World Cup. I can't remember what it was, but it was like a little like intermittent thing right before Cup,
Okay.
and I don't I can't really remember what it was called, but yeah, it was right before Cup. Played 10 man at Cup, and then went from there. But overall, we
Electric
were
Tin Man.
playing, yes, Electric Tin Man,
Okay.
yes, yes. Uh, that was that was wild. That was a lot of paint. That was a lot of paint in the air, and I was this like
Yeah.
14, 15-year-old kid playing open, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm playing against a lot of dad's old teammates, and I was like, oh geez.
Yeah.
So I was scared out of my mind, had no idea what I was getting into, and this was like my like legit like first or second year playing the game, and there's a photo floating around somewhere of my dad, Eric Dearman, and Jeff Crouppen were all old teammates of my pops when they were
Hmm.
playing on Brass Eagle together. Shout out to those guys. There's a picture of us floating around at World Cup that year. I would love to have that picture, but I cannot find it for the life of me. Um, but yeah, it was 2018 was a big year, big year. Was kind of like the introduction. 2019 was really when stuff started to kick off. That was something that was really cool because I went back to the Winter Classic in 2019, and of course my skills started to get better, started to develop a lot of different things, and I started to get taller, faster, and whatnot. I had a few different offers from a few different teams down there. At
Okay.
the time, I had a team from Utah. I had a Latin American team, and then I had Palm Beach Vipers. I had that team. So unbeknownst to me, a couple of the things that I didn't understand what was going on, my dad was investigating on the other side of things, kind of
Hmm.
looking into a little bit into that. But a few friends of mine from Louisville were actually playing on Palm Beach at the time,
Okay.
and they put my name on the top of the list, and they said, if you want a kid that's fast and ready to learn, you need to look into him.
Hmm.
Of course, my dad being my dad, he was a firefighter 25 years, he
Yeah.
made sure I was taken care of and well maintained. He looked into the not so good things of Palm Beach Vipers. I'm not going to mention it,
Yeah.
but he did some studying into that. Even some pro players reached out to him and said, "You do not need to have your son affiliated with Palm Beach Vipers." But I trust my father's judgment, and we decided to join Palm Beach Vipers.
Okay.
We listened to a lot of personal views and a lot of different things, and a lot of the things that were going on were necessarily rumors and hearsay and didn't really have concrete evidence.
Yeah.
And so my dad took it as he was kind of like, whatever. And we went and played. So, me and my father had this 2015 Toyota Prius with like 80,000 miles on it. He bought it just for a paintball car. It was a hatchback. It was great.
Okay.
So we bought it just for a paintball car, and we decided he's like, we're gonna make a 12-hour drive every single weekend. And I'm
Wow.
like, I'm like, okay. So my biggest question was, what about school? Because remind you, I'm like freshman, sophomore year of high school. Like I'm like, what what about school? So he's like, don't worry, I got it. I live in a small town. My dad grew up here, so got some strings pulled on that. Didn't have
Okay.
to worry about that. Yeah, got some strings pulled. So we did all of that, and I was we would leave on a Friday, play Saturday, Sunday, drive back on Monday. I'd go to school Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then do it again. And I did it the entire season that year.
Wow.
Yeah,
How
I was going.
how stressful was that, or was it not? I mean, I'm assuming like
It
the you had to keep your grades up in order to keep the deal.
Absolutely, absolutely. I had all A's and B's that year,
Okay.
and the I had all A's and B's that year. The principal was like, "Dude, you go do what you want. I'm more concerned about kids who are failing classes and not showing up than you." He's like, "Just keep doing your thing." But that was a very, very big thing for my pops was you come home, keep your grades up, keep your room clean, and take care of your paintball gear, and you come mow grass with me during the summer. And I said, "Okay." So me and him were running a lawn care business on the side, and he was also retired from the fire department at the time. And then
Okay.
he was working at the Air National Guard up there, so he was, getting time off, and then I was, keeping my grades up at school and whatnot. But as a 15, 16-year old kid, I was just like, "Yay, we're going to Florida!" So I didn't really care. I mean, I was having such a great time and having such a that like 2019 was such a blur for me because there was so much going on that year, and how consistent it was. It's just I didn't have time to do anything else, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Um, there were a lot of younger kids as well, so like I wasn't the only young kid.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the guys. A lot of the guys that I was playing with on Palm Beach Vipers are now playing for Shock Semi Pro. Some of them are playing for a couple other different teams down there, like Armada and a few others. I got to be friends with Connor Kelly. Of course, he plays for Aftershock now. I got to know a lot of people down there, and it, kind of all went from there. The icing on the cake was at the end of 2019 was when we played the MVPS. We were playing that local league down there, and I was also playing nationally as well. The MVPS championship was absolute blur as well because we ended up winning that event, and
Okay.
that was the first event I've ever won as as a paintball player. Like I've never podiumed beyond that. It went from no podiums to first place, and I was like, oh my gosh. And like arguably the we were called PBV kids is what we were called, and the Palm Beach kids, we were not doing well that year. We were getting stomped that year. Like we were we were not doing good. So a lot of the teams, a lot of them were getting coached by professional players. Like Brad McCurley was coaching Palm Beach Reckless, and a couple other people were coaching, and we were not doing well that year. And everything we were just clicking on a whole nother level, and we were beating teams. We beat, I think, from the number 1 seed to the number 6 seed team at that event, we beat all 6 of them. From prelims to quarters to, semis, we beat every team. And if we couldn't make it stressful enough, I remember this like plain as day. So I'm in the center that event, and I'm looking Dorito side, and then I shoot the dude that was in kind of like the 50 Dorito because he was really being like kind of the pain in our necks. I clock him, shoot him right in the side, and for some reason, like I just took off. I don't know why. I just launched, shot the dude in the center, shot the dude in the tower, shot the guy out of the snake, turned. I thought I shot the dude in the home. Evidently, I didn't. He looked at me and had a oh shit moment and was like, "Oh my gosh," shot me in like the back of the pack, and I felt it hit me, and I was like, "Oh shit!" So like I'm like mid running, like mid sprint. I had to
Uh-huh.
dive over the start box so I didn't hit hit the
Hit
buzzer,
the buzzer.
and I was like, "Yeah, I didn't I didn't want to hit the buzzer," and I was like, "Oh no." I sat on the ground for a second. I had to kind of like gather myself because I was like, "Did I just really just shoot like four people there?" I was like, "What?" Like, so that was a huge moment, and then we tied it up, went to overtime, couldn't get nothing going in overtime. We played a one-on-one. Shout out Mr. Zach Bodnar. He was our snake tip that event, and he pulled off a one-on-one for us and we won the event. So
Nice.
that was awesome. That was an awesome event. Really cool. Yeah, that was pretty sweet. And then we played cup. We did okay at cup, didn't do the best. And then we settled back, went back to the, winter time up here in Kentucky, snow on the ground, stuff like that. 2020 was when everything really kind of changed. I'm sure, and everybody can say that because it was COVID year, right?
Yeah.
So at the time, Pops was right at 50-51 at the time. This was kind of early January was when everything kind of started to kind of change a little bit. To dive into my family a little bit, not to get too medical, but our family has a history of gallbladder issues. So
Okay.
my dad, he thought it was a gallbladder was acting up, right? So he goes into the doctor, da 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 da. Come to find out, he had two forms of stage 4 terminal cancer.
No, Jesus.
And yeah, he had two forms of stage 4 terminal cancer. It was stomach lining and bile duct cancer, and the doctor gave him 6 months to live. And as a 16-year-old kid, 16, 17-year-old kid, I was like, I don't, you're kind of like looking around, you're like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So dad came home and sat me and my sister down, my older sister, and he's like, I'm sick. I have cancer. And I'm like, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. So
Yeah.
I immediately, like, I kind of just sat there for about 5-10 minutes. I immediately got up and went. And I always keep my marker put together. I've done that since I first started playing paintball. I have a tendency to want to run around the house and shit and like play paintball. I kind of just sat in the floor and kind of cried a little bit, kind of holding my gun. And I was just like, my whole world just kind of completely turned upside down because, my pops was my best friend and he
Yeah.
introduced me to something that I completely fell in love with. And I was completely scared out of my mind. I was like, I don't know what this season's going to look like. I don't know what future seasons are going to look like,
Yeah.
you know, and it just really scared me. So COVID happened, shut everything down. We watched Vegas on Go Sports and it started. It didn't really start like fate, like it didn't really start bothering him until like later on down the road. My dad took really good care of himself and he made sure he stayed healthy. And I think that's what really I think that's what kind of helped him live as long as he did when he had it. 2020, we just took things as they came.
Yeah.
We didn't really try to go out of our way to do anything crazy because, you know, Pops has got cancer. My mother had MS at the time too. So we was kind of
Wow.
like, yeah, we're kind of going back and forth. I
Getting
got
hit
family.
pretty hard.
Yeah. And family's coming in and out of the house. I'm trying to take care of the lawn care business. I'm, trying to go to school. COVID's going crazy. Like just there's so much going on. And I was like, I wasn't even worried about playing paintball. And slowly things started to open back up, slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Um, I I finally convinced my pops. I was like, Dad, I was like, let me go play cup. He goes, all right. He goes, I will not deny you that. You're going to go play cup. So me, my pops, and my papaw, we drove 12 hours in their minivan all the way down there. We drove all the way down there. They stayed Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and then they drove back on Monday. I stayed the rest of the week. So
Okay.
I stayed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I was doing schoolwork and stuff. Stayed with some friends down there, and we played the event Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I flew back. I flew back. We didn't do great. We got beaten ochos by a local team. Whatever.
Hey, making it out of the prelims at Cup is a feat.
Very much so.
You know,
Very, very much so. Yes.
especially in those lower divisions where there's like 80 teams. Like,
Yeah.
I know everyone wants to win and podium, but like honestly, especially if you go down there with a couple guys that haven't been playing, like
Hmm.
that's doing good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I went down there with like, okay, like I got something to prove because I haven't been playing a lot. And these guys have all been playing MVPS. They've been playing the local leagues and stuff. And I'm
Yeah,
like, I'm going to go down here and show these guys whether I take 6 months off or I take a year off, I'm good to go. And I went down there and played the two on the Dorito side, and me and my boy Chris, we were chopping people up over there, and we were doing well. And just we ended up, I don't know what happened. I don't know if we just slept in or whatever, but we got beat. So whatever. That was a really nice disconnect from life. That was really nice to
yeah,
me, and I needed that. I got to see all my buddies again. I got to see hundreds and hundreds of people that I know. Just being at paintball is kind of its own therapy for me now,
yeah,
and it meant so much for me to be there. So fast forward a little bit, I fly back and kind of real life started to kind of change a little bit. Dad started dropping weight. Dad started to kind of show a little bit. Still kept pushing on, stuff like that. In 2021 was when things kind of hit the fan. Wintertime in 2021, I had to sit down with dad and we had kind of a really long discussion about where we were going with this and what entailed.
hmm
He struggled with it for a really long time because he felt that it was his fault that he was taking everything that I loved and dreamed of
hmm
way away from me. Watching my dad struggle with that was really difficult because I was 17 at the time and it was really difficult to see that. And I it weighs on me now that I'm older, but when I was younger, it didn't weigh on me as much, but it was still really difficult. But he felt that he was taking away so much from me and it really hurt him. And man, he was such a trooper. Like he would go and he would take me to practice, he would take me to places, and at the time, Asylum closed.
hmm
And um Asylum closed at that time and we were having to drive a couple extra hours for practice. I eventually had to call management at Palm Beach and I said, "Hey, I I was like, I have to step away from the team." I said, "I can't make this happen. I
uh-huh.
can't make this happen anymore." And I had such a deep connection with all the guys down there and just a love for the game down there and just man, it was like every weekend we were getting after it. And I finally just had to step away from them and I came back to struggle and, I was welcomed with open arms. They took care of me and they made sure that Pops was comfortable. They made sure I was okay. Kudos to all the guys over there at the struggle camp during those times because they really made sure that I was okay and Dad was okay for the time being. Moving into the kind of the summertime there was when kind of the life of paintball started to take off a little bit again.
Okay.
I played some MSXLs, played some NXLs, and then right after we had a Marcelo Margot clinic at a local Indiana field with Struggle.
Okay.
We did that, and then I believe around that time, Philadelphia was happening. The one where it was like you were playing
In the
like it was
cornfields.
like in the cornfield. Yeah, yeah. It was like cornfields and dirt, and you're like, geez, yeah, and like you had like the red clay almost. And they Struggle had a semi-pro team at the time, and I was a really solid player, kind of the front two situation on the Dorito side, and I was even playing a lot in the middle as well. And I was playing D3, playing a little bit of D, but not much D2. I think I played like maybe one or two events, but I kind of rode the bench a lot, so
Yeah.
didn't really play. But I was playing a lot of Division 3 at the time. So ownership at Struggle Paintball was like, "Hey, we're going to host a tryout for semi-pro and D2. Do you want to come?" I was like, "Absolutely. I'm definitely in for that." So then Pops comes up, and that weekend was I was on cloud nine, but then it was also I was walking through hell at the same time because I made the semi protein team, but dad's health is drastically declining. And I could see it. Like I could see it like right before my eyes. It was like he was drastically declining. And I was like, okay. So I drove with, we drove up to Philadelphia. Dad didn't go with me. He had doctor's appointments and stuff that he had to go to. So he couldn't go with me. We went and we played Philadelphia. We did not do well in semi pro because we had a hell of a bracket. We
Yeah.
had New England Hurricanes. We had AC Diesel, we had us, and then I think we had Wolfpack, and then we had New Orleans Hurricanes. So, as you can
That's a
tell,
bracket.
that's a bracket. Yeah, that's a bracket. And we did we did not do well. Did not do well. And I got a very, very rude awakening about how high level paintball is played. I played a lot and it was fun. So got two people. But it was a lot, and I was not ready for that, especially given the circumstance that I was dealing with. I was not ready to do all of that,
Yeah.
and my dad was just so proud of me playing semi-pro. Like, I wasn't going to take that away from him. I wasn't gonna do that to him. So, I went and played. But we decided since we didn't get into Sunday, we decided to go play 10-man, and we won 10-man.
There you
So
go.
there we go. So it worked out, it worked out. It worked out a little bit, and we had a blast. Shout out to Ian Rofelson. He did not have any plans whatsoever of playing on Sunday, and one of our guys on the team was like, "Bro, you're playing 10-man," and just throws him a gear bag and says, "Find what's in there, put it on, you're playing." That's I just remember that because I remember cracking up, and I FaceTime dad, and I got to meet Mike Hinman, which was really cool. I
Uh-huh.
never met him before, which was awesome. So I got to meet him and talk to him a little bit, and he told me something that I'll never forget. It was I'm going to paraphrase a little bit because it was kind of long, but he said, no matter what happens, what circumstance life puts you in, you never give up on this game because this game will give back to you as much as you give to it. And I never understood that until now, and it meant a lot, especially for somebody like he doesn't know me, I don't know him, and he just sticking his neck out
Yeah.
and helping me. Guys been around the game for and taught so many elite level players that it was awesome to see. It was really cool. I mean, FaceTime Pop, showing him the trophy, cried on FaceTime, got everybody emotional. I was doing this on FaceTime when we were on the podium, so that was really cool. He loved that, loved that, and that was the summertime, wasn't it? The Philadelphia event. That was like
Yeah, it should
kind of
have
like
been
what
like
MAO would be.
yeah. Yeah, so it would have been
Yeah,
early summer, like
yeah,
June-ish.
yeah. The June time. Yeah. So I come back and mom kind of gives me an update. They did some kind of clinical trials, stuff like that. We thought we had it beat. We didn't have it beat. It came back and it fought 10 times harder. And I was like, oh my God. So then she's like, he's getting worse and worse and worse every day. And I'm like, okay. So
And how old are you now?
I'm 21 I'm 21 now. I was 17 at the time when
Okay.
this was happening.
Yeah.
So I just started driving. I just got my intermediate, and I was a junior in high school at the time.
Okay.
So I it was around August was when everything kind of really got really bad because that was when I'm sorry, back up. It was kind of like July. I'm a July baby. So I was born in July, and it was kind of around that time was when hospice came in. And I my grandmother was a nurse for 30 years, you know. So I could as and my pops was the oldest of four. And, my grandparents were over there. They lived like 15 minutes away from us at the time. And my family, like even family that was out of state, were coming in left and right. Like everybody was coming in, everybody
Yeah.
was like everywhere. Friends and friends and friends, firefighters, paintball players, like everybody was in the house. Like every day there was somebody visiting dad. And kind of like July, August time was when hospice was like, you all need to be prepared. And I was like, I just kind of took that and just kind of threw it to the side because I was like, I don't know how to deal with that, so I'm not
Yeah.
going to deal with it. So I continued on with school, continued on with that. Was showing pops everything and kind of doing my own thing and whatnot. Then in September 2nd, is a Thursday at 5 o'clock. I go to mow a yard with my uncle and my cousin. We finish up around 5:30, 5:36, and my mom is sitting so we have like three concrete steps that go from the garage up into the house. My mom is sitting on the garage steps, and she said that he passed away at 5 o'clock that day. And as a 17-year-old kid, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm just got done working and I'm kind of like my uncle and my cousin are behind me and I walk in and I turn the corner and the bedroom was right there and I
Yeah.
look and it's like my entire family's in there. What really set it off for me was my papa and my dad were three peas in a pod. We jived off of one another. We built stuff. We did stuff together all the time. What really struck me was when I looked at my papa and he was at the edge of the bed and he was just sobbing. And I've never in my life seen my granddad do that. And I lost it. Like I didn't like I just picked up a chair, I threw the chair. I was just angry. I was angry at the world. I was angry at everything because everything just like that had been taken away from me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. So I just, I didn't know. My sister was in college at the time, and I thank the Lord every day that she didn't get to see that, and she didn't get to see all the things that I saw because I saw the transition from who he was, like big in the gym, could bench
Yeah.
was big dude, big firefighter, to 80 pounds soaking wet, you know, in a hospice bed.
Yeah. That's a hard transition to witness.
Yeah, I mean the shit's evil. Like I have never witnessed something so evil and so disgusting in my life. Like just to watch what that sickness did to him, and I was just like, you know, he was in a tomb of his own body. Like he just couldn't do anything,
Yeah.
and it was terrible. And I was just like, you know what? I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what direction to go. Don't know where to do, where to go, who to get with, nothing. So I think I took like 2 weeks off of like everything of school, of life, and just kind of like just sat in my bedroom and was just like, you know what, here I am. I watched a little bit of paintball, watched the world around me kind of just off it went.
Yeah.
So as a 17-year-old kid, what do you do? What do you do at that time? And
And it's so hard to process at that age in particular.
yeah, and it's like, especially for someone that, has taught you everything and has showed you the way and has like done everything for you and it's just like I wouldn't say he's done everything for me, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He was a father, that's just
Yeah.
kind of what he did. And he was great at what he did. And for that to be gone is definitely a really hard situation to deal with. I didn't play paintball the rest of the year that year. I didn't play. I didn't think about touching my gun. I didn't want to touch my gun. I didn't play the rest of that year.
Well, I'm sure it's like it's super complicated, right? Like this thing that is therapeutic is also super tied to dad and everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you're super lucky you had that year of Palm Beach driving back and forth with dad, and like
Yeah.
all those memories you guys must have of just even the little shit, right? Like that happened on those drives. Like there's
All the
as shitty as the situation is, like man, to have that time together, Like I think that's really special.
Yeah, we had a lot of memories, and we made the most of every trip. I will say that we had a good time together, and we really got to be best friends, and we really did, and it meant a lot. I'm gonna pull something off the wall here. I want to back up a little bit in my story.
Yeah.
This is a big piece for me. So for Father's Day, I didn't know what to get Pops, and this was after Philly. So I got with my mom. My mom's really crafty and whatnot, and we made him this, made him that.
Nice.
So this is a shadow box. So this is the jersey, the Brass Eagle All Stars jersey was the jersey where they played pro that year. The first picture was the latest at the top here. That's the latest third place win that I had at the time. The middle picture was the first time me and him played X ball together. And then the bottom picture was when me and him first won a tournament together. So
Okay, nice.
I gave that to him, and I still have the video when I gave it to him on Instagram. If you want to go check that out, it's a little bit down there towards the bottom, but I gave that to him, and of course he cried and whatnot, and it meant a lot to him, and it means a lot to me. And I everything that I have that's paintball related, I have pictures, I have trophies, I have straps, I have, I have goggles, I have, I have guns, I have headbands, everything that I even have a flag. Like I have a flag and it says Brass Eagle All Stars versus Aftershock, and it was in Gettysburg, and they beat Aftershock, and he pulled the flag and took it, and
Nice.
he took the flag, and he had my memo so Brass Eagle versus Aftershock on the bottom of it. So I have that, and then I have a crap ton of other trophies and stuff that we won and whatnot. So I keep everything near and dear and whatnot. So to move to the happy side of paintball, in 2021, I didn't play the rest of that year. 2022 I had a lot of guys. Eventually, it got to the point to where a buddy of mine from Louisville was like, "Dude," he showed up at my house. He drove an hour, and he's like, "Bro," he's like, I don't care if I have to tie you up and throw you in my trunk. You're coming to practice. You're coming to play because you need to go play. So I'm like, all right. So me and kind of my old crew, there was about 6 or 7 of us. We all played D3 and MSXLs and stuff. And some of us played on Palm Beach Vipers together. It was all the kind of the Kentucky crew. We go to a local Lawrenceburg field, and we have a blast. We have a good time and really get back to what paintball was built for,
Yeah.
and had a good time. We had a great time. And 2022, I was playing MSXLs, kind of practicing at a local field. It was a weird time for Kentucky paintball because Paintball Asylum, I don't are you familiar with that place,
Oh
Paintball
yeah.
Asylum, by chance? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Paintball Asylum was, I'm sure was an absolute epicenter for Midwest.
Yeah.
That was like everybody and their brother knew Blast Camp, and then they knew Paintball Asylum.
Yeah.
That was kinda like the big 2 in the Midwest. So, with Paintball Asylum not being open, it really caused a lot of issues for a lot of different people, and people didn't really know what to do. So a lot of guys that were like kind of on the fence about leaving left, and they
Yeah.
haven't played paintball since. So Kentucky paintball was dying quicker than we could put it back together because how big Asylum was, and people were playing at local fields. People were just trying to play as anywhere as they could. The guys were going to Indiana, guys were going to camp, guys were going everywhere, and that was something that I ended up having to do because I was traveling to go play in Indiana. I was playing locally. I was trying to just kind of get it in as much as I could.
Yeah.
22, finished that year up. 2023, I graduated high school, and um, I graduated high school in 2023 and I played a lot that year as well. I played with struggle again.
Okay.
I played up until about the summertime of 2023. I played as much as I could. I did what I could. But the game didn't feel the same way it did before that.
Yeah.
and rightfully so. I mean, rightfully so. I mean, like me and him played on the field together. Like it wasn't just like he wasn't just a dad with the popcorn in the grandstands. Like
Yeah.
he was playing, he was my two. Like you know, he was my two on the Dorito side. He was my two on the snake side. Like anywhere that I would be at, he was there. So um I didn't know what to do, and I thought maybe if I could just tough it out and play what I could. I decided altogether to completely step away from the game that year.
Okay.
And I played a little bit, like practice here and there, nothing crazy, but I wasn't playing tournaments. I wasn't playing
Yeah.
tournaments at all. And I was like, my heart's not in it, my head's not in it, like I'm not doing it. So I decided to I had some friends that were big into building trucks, like building big show trucks with big wheels and tires
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I decided to try my hand at something new that wouldn't be tied to dad and see if I could kind of grieve on my own terms
Yeah.
and not be tied to something so drawn to that. I decided my dad gave me a 2004 Chevy Silverado 2500. It was a diesel truck, and that was the work truck we used, and then that was the truck I decided to build. And I went all out, man. I went all out on this thing. Wheels, tires, paint, powder. I mean, I did it all. I did it all, and went to numerous truck shows. I went to Indiana. I went to Tennessee, all over Kentucky. Went everywhere, and I did that, and met a lot of people, met a lot of buddies, had a lot of friends, and I wanted to get away from something that paintball wasn't tied to.
Yeah.
you know, I wanted something new and wanting something fresh. And that's what I found. And eventually it got to the point to where me and my lady of 4 years now, we decided to get our own place when we graduated. We got our own place now. She looked at me and she said, I came home from work that day. I was doing door to door sales, and this was like early in 2024. And she looked at me and she's like, how are you doing? And I said, oh, I'm good. I started talking about my day, da 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 da. And she's like, no, no, no. She goes, how are you doing? And I was like, oh, you're asking me that type of question. Oh, okay. I was like, oh, okay. Here we go. I'm
It's a
like, here
different
we
how
go.
are you doing?
Yeah, completely different. So I told her, I said, I feel empty. And she's like, why do you feel empty? And I said, because I don't have paintball anymore. And she's like, well, respectfully, she's like, screw the trucks, screw all that shit, go play paintball. And I'm like, I kind of sat down, and I didn't really say anything, and I was like she's right. And I'm like, she's completely right. you know and I was like, man, I was like, I'm gonna go and let's do it. So I was not in any shape whatsoever to play paintball. I was like, I'm 6 foot and I was 220 pounds at the time, and I was like, okay, I need to fix this like quick if I
Uh-huh.
want to if I want to play.
Yeah.
So I
Paintball's gonna let
go
you know you're out of shape, isn't it?
very. I went to like 3 or 4 practices, and I was like, oh my god, wait a minute. I'm like, hold on. I was like, I just made it to the first Dorito. Hold on, time out. So I was like, all right. So then, of course, my skills came right back. Like it was like riding a bike. You don't leave it. So I got two 20-pound dumbbells and decided I'm going to run outside. I'm going to work out. I'm going to do my thing. I dropped 60 pounds in a matter of 3 months.
Damn.
And I was like, okay, I kept practicing. I was drilling hard. I was doing I was ready to get back in it. I was ready to get back to, what Cameron was in 2018 and 2019. And I'm like, let's do it. So Immortal Effect, they won Tampa this year. I don't know if
Yeah.
you remember that. They won Tampa this year. So I was wanting to play D2 with them.
Okay.
And I ended up not getting a spot because they had a lot of really experienced guys that, you had Andrew Johnson. I'm sure you know Andrew
Yep.
Johnson Fish. You had him, you had Blaine Long, you had a lot of like all really good friends of mine, and you had all these guys that were just like kick ass all stars, and they are solid paintball players. And I already knew, like, I already knew. I'm like, dude, I was like, respectfully, I was like, I'm not going to play over these guys. I don't want to play over these guys because they're really good paintball players. So I didn't deserve that. So I kept working, kept at it. A friend of mine in Ohio, Joe Baker, who owns Punisher's Paintball, he reached out and he's like, bro, he goes, we need to play together. And I'm like, you're right. So he goes, come play Max with us. And this is when Blast Camp started.
Okay.
So he's like, come play Max with us and on MB55, come play with us and let's have fun. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So we play the first event at Max. We didn't do the greatest, but I'm gonna back up a little bit because I missed a point. I played with Immortal Effect a little bit.
Okay.
We played some MSXLs. We played some different things. We actually got a second place in Nashville. I was still a little bit heavier when I was doing that. There's a video Punisher's Paintball posted of the finals match against us and Prime Suspects.
Okay.
And there was like 10 seconds left on the clock. I shoot two guys in the center and then I just take off. I take off running and I dive for the start. I dive for the box, didn't get it. And I landed on the ground. I hit my buddy Brett. I hit him. I need like my gun went everywhere. Like I was just like, oh God. I I didn't have any emotion besides anger. So I got up out of anger, even though like I messed up my knee and I was like got up in anger and I was just yelling the F word like the whole time because I was so mad and it was just like so much emotion and it was just like, you know, I was seeing dad, I was seeing the loss, I was seeing this, I was seeing that, and it was so raw and it was so much emotion that I was just like you know, that's all I could say. So moving, you know, kind of moving forward to that, I played MSXL along with the Max League and whatnot towards kind of like March, May-ish. Shout out my buddy Ross. He was like, "Hey, I played with these guys on BC Riot last year in 2024. Well, they're gonna have a tryout." And I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "You know, we got a lot of guys over here. We got a big camp." He goes, "You're a great paintball player. I want to see you grow and I want to see you in a great spot." And I said, "Okay, great." I said, I really appreciate that. And he goes, "Talk to Steven." And I said, "Okay." So when I talked to Ross at the time, it was like a week or two before the next Max event. And so I was like, okay, so I'll go up there and we start playing and whatnot. And we start playing a little bit better. This is about the second or third Max event, and I walk up to one of the players on BC Riot. I said, "Are you Steven?" And he was like, "Hell no, I ain't Steven." And I was like, "Okay." I'm like, "Okay, sure, okay." So he goes, "It's that dude over there in the green JT hoodie," and I'm like, "Okay." So then I meet Steven. He goes, "Come out next weekend. Come out to camp and come try out." And I was like, "All right, great." So then I come home. Remind you, this is a 5 hour drive for me
Yeah.
from where I live in Kentucky to Valpo, Indiana, Valparaiso or whatever, however you call that. I probably butchered that, but anyways, to the Hobart area. And you know, my lady, I come home and I told her the news. I told her I'm like, hey, you know, I'm interested in trying out for a team up there. And she goes, are you ready to do that again? Are you ready to drive 5 hours one way to play paintball? And I was like, hell yeah, I am. I'm like, I'm ready to do it. Uh, I I she comes with me. We get a hotel and we stay up there. And then I tried it out. People were trying out for the Division 3 team and people were trying out for the D2 team. I I was really worried that I wasn't going to make the D2 team because I didn't have any confidence whatsoever. I was like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. You know, because you over the years, like since probably like 2019, you've heard how good Blast Camp and how crazy
Yeah.
Blast Camp is with how competitive it is up there. You know, and like, I was like, "There's no way in hell. There's no way in hell I'm gonna make this team," and da 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 da. Well, of course, Steven had to make it a little dramatic. He had to wait till the very, very end of practice, pull everybody in a huddle, get everybody together. And then he finally said, he goes, "Do you want to play D2 with us the rest of the year?" And I said, "Abso-fucking-lutely." I said, "There's nothing more that I want to do than play D2 with you guys the rest of the year." And then I got introduced to all the guys. I got introduced to Mesco, got introduced to Steven, all the guys on the team, Blake, Corey, all the guys. And we go and we've had a blast the entire year since then. That was probably like June, July. And I've played 2 national events. I played the rest of the max events with them. We got second place at the championship and at the max championship. And, we just wrapped up an amazing weekend with Wildside Distortion, Infamous, and Houston Heat. And I mean, I've found my home. I really have. It's the level, the competitiveness, the level of play, and just the overall ability to play pros every single weekend is awesome to me.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a learning year for me as like this is like the first year I've actually got to see playing time in D2. So like the Cincinnati event, I was really nervous because I was like, oh my gosh. Um I I was playing the center, and of course you had that like weird like snake center thing,
Yeah.
whatever. And I hated it because I was like, okay, like what do? You got to crawl here, you got to do this. Well, I was learning a lot on the fly as I was going and as I was playing, but it was still a fun event. We learned a lot. We didn't do the best, but we learned a lot, and we did everything that we needed to do. And I got to show my lady Emma, got to show her what national paintball is like. She's never been to a national paintball event.
Oh, nice.
So I got to show her, like, hey, look, here are the pros, here are the vendors, here are the fields. Like, I got to show her everything, and she just like I felt like dad, and I felt like she was me when I was a kid, and it meant a lot to me that I got to kind of pass that on and pass that forward. And we kept going, and we kept doing our thing, and we kept practicing, kept grinding, and I think if it wasn't for Mesco has really stepped up a lot. I don't give him enough credit, and I'm gonna give him a credit now because he is such an older brother to me. Because with losing my dad, I don't have anybody to keep me accountable, and I let things slip. I let things slip through the cracks a lot more than I should have at the time. And he got me in this snap fight with him, and I was completely out of breath, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And he's like, look at me. He's like, I am 24, 25 years old. He goes, you are 21 years old. He goes, you need to figure it out. He's like, you need to figure it out. And I'm like, you're right. He's like, so you're going to go to the gym, you're going to do your thing, you're going to get with it. And ever since then, we've been going to the gym, we've been doing our thing. And you know Mesco has helped me out tremendously, and he still does. He still does to this day. And I can't thank him enough at all. Can't thank him enough
Nice.
by any means.
Man, that's quite the journey.
Very, very much so. Yes, I know I talk a lot. I
No,
apologize.
it's good. And look, it's all about telling your story, man. So how did practice go with the distortion guys and Infamous and Heat?
It was a really fun time to say the least. It was definitely a lot of back and forth paintball. There was definitely a lot of learning, and there was definitely a lot of you gotta get with it, because if you already think about making a move, Ronnie D's on, Trevor Reeser, like they've already made that move and they've already
Yeah.
shot you. So you know, kind of, going about, doing that was actually kind of like the first or second time that I've really played like a big, big line of pros. So
Okay.
I had a blast. I had a blast that weekend, learned a lot, and it was definitely worth the trip. Drive 5 hours up there, stay Saturday night. Or I'm sorry, Friday night, Saturday night, drive back Sunday night, and it was worth it. It's worth the trip every single time. I put a thing in the group chat the other day. I was like, man, every single time I come up here, it reminds me of why it's worth it.
Yeah.
It was a fun practice though, regardless. It was really fun. It was really fun.
Nice.
So, but
So
yeah.
how are we feeling about World Cup?
I feel confident. I feel confident in myself. I feel confident in the team, and I feel confident in the guys that we brought on. We picked up two new guys to the team. Not, of course, one of them was actually he's a veteran from Blast Camp, Jesse Morales. We picked him up,
Okay.
and then we picked up Connor Greenfelder. Picked him up. Played for Grand Rapid Rays and Distortion a few years back, but both of them are solid paintball players, and we picked them up, and they've really fit in really well with us. And I feel that we have a really good, a really good chance and a really good team going into Cup. I really do.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, you guys are like middle of the pack, right?
Yeah, we're middle of the pack. I know the D2 team didn't do very good in Tampa. We didn't go to MAO. We had a better look going into Cincinnati, but we still made a lot of mental mistakes and still made a lot of mistakes that cost us moving on. Texas was kind of the same way. Texas, I don't feel like everybody was on the same page for Texas. It's just we were trying to come together as a unit
Mm-hmm.
too soon. Or I'm not too soon, but too late. It we got knocked out early again, and we had a hell of a bracket too. I mean, we had Wolfpack, we had Louisville Asylum, we had Legacy Factory, and then we had another team. We had another team we beat, and we were playing better as like a 2-man op, a 3-man op on either side. We were doing good on either side, but we weren't connecting.
Yeah.
And that was something that we still struggled with this weekend was connecting the field all the way around the corner, from corner to corner. So I think we're gonna dial that up and get that going and whatnot. But yeah, I feel really confident with the team that we have going into Cup. I think we have a lot of guys with some solid guns and some guys with some experience, a lot of experience that will help us a lot.
Well, hey, say your dad's name.
His name was David Pawley.
Okay.
Name was David Pawley.
Yeah. As Matty Marshall says, we die two deaths. Let's extend his second one a little bit.
Yeah.
So, like, having a dad that got to pro, did you ever feel pressure to get there? Or do you feel pressure to get there?
Every single day of my life, I feel pressured to play professional paintball. That is the end goal. That is it.
Okay.
There is no other end goal. I think part of me is like, okay, if I make it to semi-pro and like I have kids and I have everything and I do my thing, I'm like, okay, like if I make semi-pro, I'm good. No, no. No matter how many times I try to like make that fantasy like work, I'm like, no, I want to play professional paintball. That is the goal.
Okay. That's the goal.
That is the goal. Hmm.
Do you feel like dad ever put pressure on you to make that big of a leap, or no?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay,
He was
he did.
he did. Absolutely. He's very competitive, and sometimes he was a bit of an ass, to say the least. And he was very hard on me and my sister. I made the USA the same year that Jackson Frey and a couple other ones made it. They made the U19 team. So
Okay.
I did that. And then my sister the same year she was playing travel volleyball as well. So we were doing kind of going back and forth.
Man, you guys didn't have a weekend at home.
No, 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 we did not. We did not. We were very busy. And she made the she made the USA volleyball team
Awesome.
for her age. Yeah. So we were kind of like a USA family there. And of course, I was kind of mad because we were supposed to go to Amsterdam. Well, that year, the organization in Europe said that it was going to be 3-man 50 cal. So we didn't go. And
Okay.
I was like, what the hell? So I'm still kind of sour about that because I was like, man, I get to go to Amsterdam, represent my country. That's awesome. Nah, whatever. So yeah, he put a lot of pressure on me, but he has made me the man who I am today, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Hmm. Nice.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
So what's your favorite story from that year where you guys spent driving 12 hours every weekend?
It's probably when we went to Walmart. Shit, we went. I told this when they did a memorial bike ride for Dad and some other fallen heroes and firefighters and such. And I told this story at this event, and we go. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning, dude. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. We just got to Florida. We need water, Gatorade, apples, everyday stuff for the field.
Yeah.
He for some reason we're walking through the sports section, and he used to play he played baseball, and he played a lot of baseball, and he was going to go try out for the Cincinnati Reds, like their I think their AAA team at the time, like
Okay.
way before me, way before my mom too. So he was really good at baseball, and for some reason he was looking at this bat, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm sitting here with the cart, and I'm messing with my phone, not really paying attention to him, and he picks up this like wiffle ball, but it was like a solid, like it's like a solid, it was a solid
Okay.
wiffle ball, and he just goes boom and just cranks it halfway across the store, and he goes, "That's a good bat." Puts it back, and he goes, "All right." I'm like, so I'm like 15. I'm like 15 at the time, and I'm like, I was like, I must be having a fever dream because my dad was very straight laced, very like didn't do anything out of the ordinary, didn't do anything, and I was just like, he's like, let me just pow, and I was like, he just did that. I'm like, he never. I would bring it up. I'm like, why did you? He would never. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Just totally
It's just
denies
like
it.
it just denies it ever happened, and I'm like, fair enough. Okay, what? I'm not gonna ask you. Whatever. Whatever. So that one's one of my favorite stories. And then um, we were in Dallas. Another one. We were in Dallas for NXL 2019, the Mud Bowl, pretty much. We were we were in the rental car. It was me, my dad, one of my buddies, and then management. And for some reason, we were singing "Careless Whisper" in the car. I don't know why.
Okay.
My buddy was singing it, and he was butchering the song, and my dad has this like crazy southern like laugh, and I have a video of it on my Snapchat, and he was cracking up. He thought it was the funniest thing. So I'm sitting there like we're all like I can't breathe. I'm laughing so hard at him. It's just, man, stuff like that was just always part of it. Like the laughs and the fun we had was there's so many stories that I could tell you. It's just, it could go on for hours of what we did and what we didn't, you know. So, but yeah.
Well, normally one of the questions I ask is, what's the dream gun? But I think you got it. Like, I think it's dad's, right? Like, it's gotta
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Pops's gun. Yeah, it's Pops's Jenny Matrix. I had a buddy here locally rebuild it for me, so it's 100% operational. It can
Nice.
100% shoot. It works. So, I need to put paint through it. Uh,
Hey, those are great off-season guns.
yes, they are. They are. I will say one gun that my dad wished he would have kept. He had. Oh, I got a picture. Here you go. He had a Dark Angel back in the day. If
Oh,
you can see it. If you can see it. So he had a Dark Angel back in the day, and he said he wished he would have never got rid of the Dark Angel. He said if I were to go back, because I even asked him the question, what's a gun that got away from you? He's like, the Dark Angel. He's like, if I had a
yeah.
Dark Angel, he goes, I miss that gun, miss that gun. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he he started a fire, that's for sure. He started a fire. He started a fire. But, you know, I'll do anything to make sure I get where I need to get to, and I wanna be on the main stage. And the overall dream is to play the game that I love, and completely be encapsulated in the game and not do anything else, not have to work a side job, not have to work a job and go play paintball on the weekends. Like, no, I want to play, and that's all I do. That's the dream. That's anybody's dream.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, I think that's everyone's dream who touches a gun at some
yeah,
point, right?
absolutely,
Whether it's the
absolutely.
current dream or not, like I think everyone has had that, like, man. what if? What if I
What
could?
if this would happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
any pieces like special piece of gear you got to wear when you go out onto the field?
My tank dangles.
Okay.
I have those on every tank that I have. I have 3 tanks. I have to have those everywhere I go. I have to have them. I have a big case of them in my gear bag, so I'll change them every event.
Okay.
Um, so I have those, and I've been with tank dangles since day one, and they're awesome.
Nice.
So I gotta have that. I gotta have that everywhere I go.
All right. And any other like rituals before a match starts? Are we a
Yeah,
music
of
guy, not
course.
a music guy?
I'm a little bit of both. It depends on my mental state. It depends on how, like, if I need to be like physically locked in, mentally locked in, or if I can like lock in with music. But I will always talk to dad before an event. I will always speak to dad in the morning. I will talk to dad. I'll kind of isolate myself for a little bit. I'll kind of talk to dad for a second. I talk to the Lord for a second, and thank him for all the opportunities and everything that has been bestowed upon me, and play the game.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's that.
And we're over an hour, so I feel like
I
we're at
know.
a good stopping point. But
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
no, we are good, man. It's all worth the story. But
Yeah.
man, I'll have you. We'll have to come back on and just shoot the shit one day
Yes. Please. Yes. Please.
for
Please.
sure. But shout out who you want to shout out, the sponsors, the teams. So
Yes. Shout out JT Paintball for all our gear. First and foremost, shout out Blast Camp Paintball and Airsoft. We wouldn't be who we are unless it was for Blast Camp. So thank you so much for Virgil and all the guys over there. Punishers Paintball for all of my personal gear and all my personal belongings that I have through the game. DV8 Paintball for all my JT accessories and JT builds that I have. Thank you so much for him. Jamin and John Dresser are very, very good people, and they make sure I am 100% taken care of from top to bottom and all my gear when it comes to JT stuff. Tank Dangle for all of your tank dangle needs and crystals. I pass those out to all my buddies and such. So thank you so much, Randall, for all of that and everything that you do. And thank you so much to Trey Goodwin and all the guys over at All Heart Paintball. Love all those guys over there. Some buddies of mine started that company, and I've been supporting them since day one. Um, even Pops has been supporting them from day one. This is his bucket hat he used to wear. He loved this hat. He wore it everywhere he went. So I have that as well. Thank you guys, and Hunter, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It was an
hey,
absolute
man,
blessing. Thank you so much.
thanks for coming on and sharing your story. Like
Yeah.
it's a unique one and an important one, So I appreciate you coming on and telling the vulnerable stories. A lot of guys want to
Yes,
bravado and whatnot, and I think this game does have some healing factors to it,
it does.
and it's important to share those stories for sure.
Yes. Yes.
But thank you again, and
Of course.
we got to hang out for a little bit after I stop
We
the
do.
recording.
We do.
Everyone else, we'll see you next time on the Planet Paintball podcast. Have a good one.
See you guys.
All right. Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to the Planet Paintball podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Whether you're out there grinding in the divisional pits or chasing dreams on the pro stage, remember, it's all about the passion, the hustle, and the love for the sport. Shout out to 1023 Sportswear for sponsoring the show. Don't forget to use code Planet Paintball at checkout for 20% off your order. Gear up, save big. Until next time, keep grinding, keep growing, and we'll see you back here on the Planet Paintball podcast